How you doing, Matthew?
What's going on? I
Little
got a
rat.
critique for you.
Uh-oh.
You need to
Go
move your
for it.
GoPro farther away so when you stand up, your head's not cut off.
Yeah. You know, it's it's a forever ending battle with that one. I don't
Yeah.
want yeah. Well, so the way I have my kayak set up, right, it's when I'm running the bow mount, the angle of the yak attack camera mount works just fine. And then when I run the NK 300 in the back, I have to scoop my seat forward just
Oh
to
yeah.
compensate for the weight balance. Well,
Yep.
because I also have that ability to, right?
Mhm.
So, I move it forward to kind of shift the weight forward, and then that's why it looks like my head got chopped off.
Look like a good fish though.
Yeah, because it works just fine in the XI3 mode, if you want to call it that, or the bow mount mode. But the moment that I shift everything forward, my seat forward, then it's just all hell breaks loose. Everything looks bigger as everything
Yeah.
just looks close. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't win them all.
Nope. Need a
Yeah,
360. That's what you need. Insta 360.
I've considered it, but man,
I worry
I
about
don't
the
know if I
net.
want to. Yeah, I don't know if I want to get into it because it just looks like a nightmare to work into. I
Yeah.
don't know.
That whole top down view, I guess, that everybody likes to put where it shows like the whole world around you. I hate that view.
Yeah, the like bird's eye globe
Yeah.
view kind of deal. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it. It's just, I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I don't.
Yeah, there used to be a guy that worked in the Air Force. He was a bass boater, and he put up a lot of videos from the Delta and stuff. And the one thing I did like about it was like when he was running down like any of the canals in the Delta, it was cool because he would pass people that would do something stupid or whatever. Maybe they had a fish on, and he would pick
Oh,
them out and then follow it as he went by. And that was kind of cool having that ability to put
yeah,
something in the frame like that.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's got its
That being,
advantages, I guess.
yeah, that being said, there's people that are kind of here listening. I don't know what yeah, there's guys that are kind of chiming in here.
Oh yeah,
Before we
couple.
go too far, if anybody wishes to join in, let me know, and I'll send you the link. It's just a hangout. I've already sent it to our regulars, which are Sean and Isaiah. I haven't sent
Yeah,
it to Ramel. I haven't sent it to Ramel yet because Ramel asked me if Ramel wants to jump on. But what what did you want to get off your chest, Matthew?
it wasn't so much getting off my chest or a rant. It was more just having a communication. So that's why I was hoping we would get some audience members or Sean or somebody else on to talk about things. Just debating. One of the big hot topics right now in the fishing community is rules. Are we killing the sport? Are we killing not just fishing as a sport, but tournament fishing as a sport by overdoing our rules? Are we going too far down that rabbit hole that we have to have a rule for everything and we can't just let fishing tournaments be fishing tournaments.
I
So
guess not only that, but are we even making a fair assessment? As in, yes, there's rules, but there's even within the rules, there's like gray areas where,
mhm.
you know, I mean, I guess we kind of talked about it off air, but like the Scott Martin thing, what's happening with Matt Heron on the elites now that Matt Heron's no longer fishing the
Yeah.
elites. um, it's just it's hard to enforce, it's hard to police to even begin with. And then not only that, but you have people essentially in the fishing community. If you follow any of the elites guys and you know that they're fishing a tournament, what's the thing that you talk about? You talk about fishing. Because everybody's an angler. Everybody knows about fishing, and that's what you relate to. That's just a normal conversation.
Well, I'm
So
glad you started with this one because I'd rather have the audience build up while we're talking about something that's more of the boat community. Because I mean, Bassmaster does have a no info rule, but it's pretty relaxed. It's not as intense as what BASS is doing for the opens and the elites. And there was actually an opens angler that was disqualified. No, he was not disqualified. The opens angler was fined $4,000. He was not disqualified. And that brought up a lot of questions too in the community. Was why did that opens angler get fined $4,000 but not DQ'd? Matt Herron got DQ'd with no fine. Scott Martin got DQ'd with a fine. There's no consistency. And like the Matt Herron and Scott Martin, at least they're on the same level as far as what tournament series they fish.
Yeah.
Scott Martin self-reported and got DQ'd and fined. Matt Herron failed a polygraph and got DQ'd. So what was the difference? And for those that don't know, Matt Herron was talking to his son, and Matt had found all his fish down south, and his son and him were talking, and he mentioned that, hey, hopefully the event doesn't get one up in whatever canal up north. And Matt Herron didn't use that info. He fished 75 miles due south of that area, so he was nowhere near it. He didn't solicit the information. He didn't act on the information and didn't benefit from it. And yet he was DQ'd. And then Scott Martin apparently was his story, which is what we know. He was rigging some rods in a parking lot of a ramp, and some local anglers came up and started talking to him, and he did not tell the angler that he could not get information, and then self-reported after they had a conversation about water clarity. I don't know. Is that really? I guess their argument he solicited information because he didn't stop the conversation and he participated in it instead of just hearing something.
Yeah, and I get it, right, from like the enforcement route, right, as in the how to enforce it, right, because it kind of gets to the point where, well, how do I know that all they talked about was water clarity?
Right.
As in, they're still talking fishing. What happens if they said, oh, something slipped out about a certain lure or something? Those things, we're anglers, and once we start chattering, it just goes, oh yeah, we caught him on a chatterbait, we caught him on this, we caught him doing this. It goes on and on and on, and anglers can talk for hours in a parking lot on
absolutely
just one specific day. Yeah. So I get the like enforcement thing where, because it didn't stop the no information soliciting, I get that they have to enforce it as, well, we don't know how much information you got now. And it's understandable, but when he self-reported and then also got fined, and that's where it he had integrity, and so that's why he was self-reported to not fish the event, essentially, which is he's a favorite, obviously. Anybody that knows Okeechobee knows that he's a favorite.
Well, and that being said, his family lives there. I mean, the Roland Martin Marina on the lake. How do you not talk fishing from the time the Elite Series announced the lakes until that event? Now, granted, it's not like that event's at the end of the season, but still, it's been a couple months. You expect Scott Martin, a professional angler, to not talk fishing on his home water for months? They don't live in a bubble.
I believe in the Bassmaster rules, because they do own, they own a lodge there, a resort there. I'm pretty sure they are guides, and in the like professional fishing guides, and in the rules, there's essentially an off limits period where they can guide until that off limits period.
Yep.
So
30 days, right? I think it's 30 days.
Like 28 days or 30 days or something of that nature. But I mean,
I don't know. So, and I'll throw another curveball in. On the elite level, or any level really, even our level, it's not like we all stay in houses separate from one another. So the travel buddies, the guys that, even if you're not in the same room, your boats are out there parked in front of the house together and they're rigging rods. Is that not sharing information?
Technically, it would be.
Right. So if they polygraphed everybody in the elites, would anybody be left?
Yeah. Because technically, similar interest groups, stay with similar interest groups. And it's such a small community, even though it's a very big community in the grand scheme of things, it's still very small compared to everything else. We're not really, the angling community is very small. Even the boat pack side, whatever you call it, it's still very small. It's not everybody fishes, but the guys that compete is small. That community is small. And like you said, what's to say that you see a guy tie on a jig or something, and that's not information for you. It's it's
just
still
casual conversation. During practice week, oh man, I flipped into this bush, fish hit my jig, and I set the hook, broke the line, pissed me off. Well, now you've just given that you're flipping wood with a jig. That's sharing information.
Yeah.
And if you don't, at that point, even if you told the other angler, hey man, I can't get that information from you because of the no info rule, it's already done.
Yeah. But then,
because it's unenforceable, should it even be a rule?
Yeah, but then at the same time, so on the Bassmasters rule sheet, they do say that you can speak to other anglers to get not solicit information, but to just talk to other anglers about fishing. And they have to be anglers that fish that event in order for you to talk to them about fishing. But it's just like, why even draw that line? Quite frankly,
shades of gray.
Yeah,
it's just
because
it's a crazy rule.
It's very weird. It's very weird.
And I think the intent of the rule was to keep anglers from calling guides or calling local sticks and pun intended, fishing for information that's not available. But man, to ask a fisherman not to talk to other fishermen about what's going on when you're in an area, because those guys are there for a week prior for their practice, they're 10 days prior for the practice. Conversations are had. You could test every one of them and they'll all fail.
Oh yeah. So every single one would fail. Yep. And that's what makes it even. It gets to the point where if this is the case, shouldn't there has to be a way to where, I don't know how it has to be written out, because guys will always continue to find a competitive advantage.
Yep.
That's just
loopholes.
Yeah, that's just what it is. What was it? Was it Trey McKinney, I believe, last year?
JT and Trey.
Yeah, that also got pinged for the no information rule.
Yep.
And that was one of them. Was him calling his mom. I don't know what said conversation was, but him calling his mom. I don't know. It's just it's so hard, especially in today's world. Yeah. I guess the best way to do it right would be like to go back to the old days, like really old days, where you ship 10 boats, whatever, or 20 boats, whatever, to one lake, whatever, and just fly everybody guys in and let them go. And just have a rat race from the dock. At this point, you might as well. It's.
I guess my worry is this is pretty much the boat community we're talking about, but my worry is that's where we tend to adopt all our rules from, whether it's good, bad, or other. And man, I would hate to see that come into the kayak community.
Yep.
And the Bassmaster Kayak Series, like I said, they have a no info rule, but you can talk to other competitors, like you said. So that kind of eliminates a lot of it, because those of us staying in houses together, whatever, we could talk. And then you can talk to family, and you can even fish with family in practice.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a better way to do it, but it still doesn't stop you. Conversations are still going to happen with people at boat landings, restaurants, whatever. Mm-hmm. I had to cut a guy off at Caddo. Yep. A guy, and when I went to Caddo for that tournament, we went to the board check. It was at a casino, and I walked in the door with my board. It was me and Christine. Matter of fact, we were standing with Steve O, I think. And this guy came up and he goes, "Hey, y'all fishing this tournament?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh man, have you been down by the dam?" And I was like, "Hey man, I can't get any information." And he's like, "Oh, okay." You can't stop it.
No. You just can't. Especially on once you start branching out, like James is saying, locally it'll probably never be really affected, because locally it's the best way to say is the level of competition is not as fierce, if that makes sense. And not only that, but at the end of the day, it's a team building process, more so on the local level. It's
now,
not
I will
really
say, one area that I did see this come into play that I thought it was a terrible thing was years ago at the KBF National Championship. You had your local clubs that would have, and I know the club, but I'm not going to say it, you have 25 anglers that qualify in a local club for the KBF National Championship, and they show up and they stay together. Oh, what's up, Anthony? They
Yeah,
show up and stay
you want
together. Yeah.
since before it's a great time. Anthony,
Yeah.
did you want to jump on to talk about rules, especially since you're fishing in the Bass Opens? It would be because that's what we're trying to go over here, and yeah, because I'm pretty sure Anthony's aware, Matt Heron and also Scott Martin, so it'd be a great time for you to jump on if you're available, Anthony. I'll send you the link if you can. But sorry, go ahead, Matthew. I just had to throw that out there.
Yeah. But there was a local club that had like 25 guys that qualified, and they all came to Kentucky Lake, and they all stayed together. And this was back in the infancy of kayak tournaments. This was like the first or second year that we had it. Those guys had a distinct advantage over everybody else that traveled because most of us had never fished Kentucky Lake before. They split up, and they covered, for those that don't know, Kentucky Lake is huge. It takes, Amanda and I had a bad weather day, and it took us literally 10 hours to drive around the whole thing. But they split up, and they split the lake up into sections, and they all went out and fished. And then when they got back to the house, they shared information each day. And those guys, I don't think any of them won, but they were all up there. They were way up there in the standings. Because I fished for probably, I don't know, I think we had 4 days of practice, and I couldn't cover the whole lake. Not even close.
Yeah, and that's also kind of what you've seen kind of happen, right? As in, it's gone from an individual sport to a team sport. Mm-hmm. It's essentially, especially since the college thing just kind of kicked off. Yep. The high school fishing, college fishing, collegiate fishing. Ever since that kind of happened, everything just kind of turned into a little bit more of, these are the guys that I know, and let's kind of talk to these guys and get info on said lake, this lake, that lake. We'll run the lake. He'll fish the north end, I'll fish the south end, and then we'll share information and kind of see what's going on with the lake to kind of better our chances. The real question is, should we really go there? As in,
well, does it really help? So I say that one club, they benefited, but
no.
I fish, very rarely do I fish with somebody on the water in the kayak. Mm-hmm. I was doing a Hopey application yesterday, and it was funny because I had to find a picture of me in the kayak with, trophy shot type thing for the profile picture. And I told the man, I was like, wow, I don't have any pictures of me holding fish in the kayak because I'm never with anybody. I went back and found the picture that Christine took of me in the Possum Kingdom event at the end when we caught the 2 9s back to back. And that's the picture I used because that was the earliest one I could find of me in a kayak with a fish, because all my pictures are just on my lap. I don't have any. So.
Oh, I know. I'm the same way.
Yeah. So does it really help? Is it something that we need to worry about? I don't want to think it is in the kayak community. I'm like you. We aren't the elites. We're not at that level. I don't think it's that dire of a situation. Are there people that benefit from it? Maybe. But if you were to call me and you're on one side of, say, Don Pedro, because I don't fish there. If you're on one side of Don Pedro and you call me and be, hey, man, they're biting a jig in 18 feet of water. That doesn't mean I'm going to pick up a jig and find fish in 18 feet of water. Mm-hmm. It's hard to fish somebody else's pattern to start with. So.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's hard. It's very hard for it to translate over. The pots are getting bigger, so it's starting to become more serious, obviously. But I don't feel like the level of competition, even on the national level, has gotten to the point where it's so hard, if that makes sense. As in, there's a lot of great kayak anglers. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. There's a lot of great ones, but it hasn't gotten to the point where you need that every single bit of advantage that you could get in terms of information, in order to gain a competitive advantage. At least I don't think it's gotten to that point yet on the kayak side. The boat side's completely different. Those guys they're all good. You can't drop a single day in a 4-day derby. It's a different animal. The kayak guys can't compare in the consistent daily to day, tournament bags. There's very few kayak guys that could do that. You know.
Now, I do like the rule. Some kayak tournaments, some clubs have the rule where you cannot use your cell phone on the water during tournament hours to call anyone other than the TD or 911. I like that. Is it enforceable?
No,
Not really.
Not really. Yeah.
But I think that'd be the farthest I think I could see it going that I would be okay with as far as the info rule in the kayak community.
Yeah.
I just don't see any need to do anything else.
That being said, though, what happens if you get, let's say, like, for example, my parents' guide on Lake X, wherever the lake is, and because we were talking earlier about the rules about you could talk to your family, not really solicit information, obviously, but just talk to them. And if they give you some sort of information regarding on Lake X, like if I talk to my dad or whatever about, I don't know, Lake X, and he gives me waypoints and they should be doing this right now in 45 feet of water, is that...
I don't know. Once again, specific lake information, I don't know if I agree with. My dad was a tournament angler. My whole life, that's what I did was follow him around the tournament trail. And I talked to my dad pretty regularly about fishing. He does not have experience other than when he's come out for visits to me here. He doesn't have experience on our lake here. But, we talk about trends and stuff all the time. Slow down. That's all he always tells me, slow down. But I don't know that I think it's right to get specific info on stuff.
Fishing at no cost for the wife. Where do I sign up?
You better hope your wife's not on here.
Oh,
I don't mind when my wife calls me. It seems like I always hook a fish when Amanda's on the phone with me.
Yeah, because you slow down. That's why.
Probably so.
You slow down to pick up your phone. That's why.
Yeah. That's probably right.
That's funny.
But yeah, I don't know that I like the specific lake information. If you have, that to me, that's not very different from calling a local guide friend. Like if John Pearl was one of my best friends and I'm at the lake and I call him and he's like, bro, you need to go over and sit on this rock pile. This is where we got him last week. Yeah, that's pushing it. I'm not paying for that information because it's a friend of mine, but it's still a guide that has
a lot of knowledge.
It has an edge over the average everyday angler. Nobody fishes Clear Lake in our community more than I do, and I would not hold a candle to the guides that are up there, whether it's John Pearl or Zach Ploger or anybody else. They definitely have me beat just because of time on the water.
Yeah.
So getting that kind of info, that's not okay.
Yeah. Because at that point, it's the competitive edge on that is your bite windows, right?
Right.
It's by the time they tell you to go sit on that rock pile or, go fish that tule patch at 11 o'clock or 11:30, and you pull up there and you catch a fish, it's because they already knew that those fish were going to pull up there. It's not because it's a magical honey hole. It's just because those fish pulled up there and those fish are feeding now.
Yep.
And that's
you
kind of
can't pattern that.
Yeah, you can. It's just it takes a lot of time on the water, which is why guys, hire guide services if they just want to go have a good day on the water, because they figured those things out. And essentially they figured out exactly where to be, when to be there, and when the fish turn on, and what to do to get those fish to bite.
Yep.
It's which brings up something that I kind of wanted to touch on too. There's so many guides that are popping out nowadays that have no idea what they're doing.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of the bottom line. You have guys that will have say a kayak guide service that they have no idea what they're doing, or they'll have a boat fishing service that have no idea what they're doing, and all they do is they get the guide license, obviously, go through your steps, your licensing and all that, but they have no idea what they're doing. And I don't know if that's good for fishing. I don't know if that's bad for fishing. I don't know. But I'm not a fan of it just because, they don't have any real love for it.
I got a personal feeling on that. I made a comment on a Facebook group yesterday or today. It was about duck hunting, and it was about an organization that is set up to help ducks, kind of like Ducks Unlimited, but it's more of a local one. not here in California. And
Mhm.
people were bashing on this group, and for good reason. They do some things that aren't really good for the ducks per se, but it's a money grab. And
Outdoor guide service.
but I made the comment about it's no different than Ducks Unlimited and Delta Waterfowl. To me, the wildlife that we have in this country is a resource for the people and should never be commercialized. I don't agree with guides for fishing, hunting, anything else, outfitters. I just think it's not good. The bass fishing is probably better than some of the other things, but when you're talking about, like, I got a bunch of guide friends in Florida that do saltwater.
Mhm.
And they go out, they fish every day. So it's just like the bass fishing. They know exactly where the fish are setting up, what time to be there, what to use, how to get on a fire. And they're taking clients out. And I have this one friend who has not been a guide all that long, maybe 15 years now. But that guy has gotten so good. He started off in a kayak when I knew him, but he has gotten so good that I see his pictures and he's limited out on sheepshead, flounder, and speckled trout almost every trip. So 7 days a week, he's going out taking 3 clients and they're pulling 30 flounder, 15 trout, and I don't know what the limit is on sheepshead every single day.
Yeah,
that's not good for the resource. And would he be able to catch those fish if he wasn't a guide? Sure, he would, but he probably wouldn't be fishing 7 days a week, and he sure wouldn't be pulling 4 limits out from those holes 7 days a week. And I don't like that. I don't think it should be commercialized. It should, they were talking about it being pimping wildlife, pimping ducks. You should be able to do that with a natural resource.
Yeah, it's not easy pimping.
Yep.
But yeah, I see what you're saying there. That's definitely, I never considered that, because I've always just considered it as catch and release guide service, because
Well, and that's why I say the bass fishing is probably better than the saltwater thing. Now, but you talk about mortality rates. How many of the fish those guides are catching die?
Yeah.
Should they be out there sticking all those 10-pounders every year?
Every pre-spawn, every winter, basically.
But at the same time, without that guiding, you wouldn't have stuff like the elites, because most of the elites are guides when they're in the off season, or that's how they got their start.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, like, especially like Clear Lake too, guiding on Clear Lake, especially since Clear Lake doesn't really support the fishing community. Obviously, everybody knows. Yeah, their city council, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, they're not a huge fan of fishing.
But yet
in that sense,
they do admit that that's where they get their money.
Yeah, and so it's one of those deals where, do you still really want to guide? I get it, Clear Lake's a great lake, but do you really want to guide in a city that doesn't even want you there?
It's a great lake.
Yeah, we
should have more kayak tournaments there, James.
Oh dear. How you doing, Isaiah? Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard place. I mean, it doesn't help that they're killing everything off them. I mean, the grass, they're spraying the grass still. I mean, yeah, there's guys I talk to guys, not physically, but I talk to guys that sprays the Delta, and they're telling me that it's good because it clears up the grass, so it doesn't choke up the Delta, which I understand that. I get it. But
I want it to.
yeah, but you're killing everything, and I want the grass to grow so there's oxygen,
Well, there's oxygen. That's what protects your forage base.
Yeah. So
I think that's part of what happened in the Delta. And that's why the Delta isn't fishing as good as it used to right now. We had the drought for a long time. The grass grew up. It was good. Then we had that first year where we had the big floods, and all that water came through the Delta down through the bypass, and it blew out all the grass. And so what happened the next year? We were all catching 10 and 12-inch fish left and right, and the big ones were pretty much nowhere to be found. I mean, I know there were still some big ones caught, but for the most part, it was dink
not
central.
your normal. Yeah, not your normal Delta though. I mean, not your magical days of the Delta where everybody's catching a 10, every other day.
Yeah, John Myers talking about how all the teeners were caught back in the day. That was where you went to catch a giant.
Yeah,
it's just not like that anymore.
Yep. Yeah, which is also a fun fact. I don't know if you because you have a degree in biology and so on and so forth, your background's a little bit more better on it. If they spray the Delta during the winter, does that still kill the grass, or is there even any benefits of spraying the grass during the winter?
Not in the winter.
Yeah.
Most, and I'm not going to say all because they have different chemicals, but most of the chemicals that they use, at least on Clear Lake, are defoliate, or what do they call them? Defoliage chemicals. So it kills the leaves. That's why we had all that long, stringy, spaghetti-looking grass in Clear Lake, because it kills the leaves off of it. Without the leaves, they can't produce chlorophyll, and so the plant dies. So
Gotcha.
I don't know what they're spraying on the Delta. They got to spray more than just that stuff on the Delta, because you see that stuff that kills all the surface plants, the tules, the hyacinth, all that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I only ask because, as some of the guys that are listening know, and obviously I jumped into the Delta Saturday. Yeah, Saturday this past weekend, and I got a full mouthful of spray, and my mouth still tastes like spray. I mean, I'll be fine. Obviously, I'm still fine, but they're still spraying it. Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah, all I'm saying is I don't get why you're spraying it during the winter, because it isn't.
Was there any green growth? Was there any green growth
No.
along the banks or anything? Yeah, that makes no sense.
Everything was completely dead. Even the moss itself. Because there's every spring you get your mossy stuff that grows. It's very limited, as in there is some, but it's very limited in certain areas, of course, that probably the spray didn't hit. But everywhere else that they did spray was brown and like 4 degrees warmer, just because, the vegetation basically melting and burning off. So it was warmer water, of course. But
well, if it dingies up the water, the particulates in the water attract more light, and it warms up faster.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the same at Clear Lake. Everybody gripes about the dirty water after all the rains, but that dirty water is about 3 degrees or 4 degrees warmer than the clear water. So
yeah. So I only asked because maybe I figured you might have some sort of insight on why they spray up during the winter,
so they can get paid. Get paid per application or per gallon of spray or whatever.
Yeah. They just keep throwing the plants Tylenol, keeping them Tylenol until they die, basically. Everybody knows that medical reference. Jesus.
Yeah. So rules, man, rules. Are we killing the sport with rules? Why do we have certain rules?
Not the kayak side. I don't think the kayak side we're too worried about it yet. But I will say, I feel like if you're an angler, right, a tournament angler, and you're still soliciting information, like what I mean by information is, what are you catching them on and how you're catching them and so on and so forth, like specific patterns. If you're trying to solicit those specific ways of how to catch them, then you need to reevaluate, as in you're probably not fishing well.
Yep.
That's kind of where I'm at with it in tournament fishing wise. If it's fun fishing, have at it. But, sometimes if you can't make the adjustments on the water, then that's on you, because you didn't have the knowledge, or you didn't have the gut instinct to make that adjustment on the water. And you shouldn't be picking up your phone and calling, let me look at the Tourney X, who's in the top 10 or who's catching fish. And, I know that guy. I have his number. I'm going to call him and, see what he's doing. Yeah. If they're kind enough to help you out, because there's no rule against it, of course, not in our local series. But should it really have to get to that point? Isn't it still a competition?
Yeah. Well, that brings up another one, though, the whole point about, making the adjustments on the water. What's your thoughts on the off-limits periods? Good, bad, pointless?
In my opinion, if it was up to me, no pre-fishing. Because if I don't get to pre-fish, nobody in Yakabass and nobody else that lives in Northern California should get to pre-fish either.
That's all you do is pre-fish. You fish constantly.
Yeah, but I don't fish the lakes that we go for a tournament.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how about that? How about
Yeah.
if our tournaments were on your home lake? I won't mention it. Everybody knows it, but
Yeah, everyone
if the
knows it,
if
but
the tournaments were on your home lake and all of a sudden you can't fish it for however
Yeah.
long, whatever that tournament is that's coming,
I would be fine with it.
would you?
But then I would be fine with it. But then I think realistically, to make it so that it's equal to everybody, as in, nobody's going to complain about it, is to have one day of free fishing. And it would have to be like that Friday before the event happens. Just because no matter what, you're going to get guys that are going to complain about, I don't want to sign up because I didn't get a pre-fish. This it's too much money for no pre-fishing. It's too far for no pre-fishing. I'm not going to sign up. I don't see the lake. I don't have the confidence to go fish it. I don't have the confidence to go figure it out in the 8-hour, time frame or 9-hour time frame, however long the derby is. There's too many guys that aren't willing to adjust on the fly. They much rather go spend a day to go look around and then fish the tournament the day after.
Yep.
So
if
it was up
guess,
to me, yeah.
Ahead.
Oh no, if it was just up to me, no pre-fishing at all. Because, like I said, all the lakes that I fished, it's just, my first year of fishing Yakka bass, the only time I pre-fished was during the TOC. All those other events that I fished before that, leading up to it, West Coast Championship that same year, I didn't pre-fish. Everything that I did, I just went and I just ran with it, and whatever happened. So, I get both sides, but I'm just saying for me, I would throw pre-fishing out the window.
Well, let me put this out there. So we're at the kayak level, and we were just talking about how we are not the elites. We are not professional anglers. We don't do this for a living. So why does it matter? Does pre-fishing really make a difference? Because if you look, like we said, we adopt most of our rules from the boat community. Boat community in the almost all the boat tournaments and series, there's no off limits. BAM has, for the boat series, it's off limits Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are official practice days, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the tournament. There we go.
This is a good guy to talk about this pre-fish deal too.
Hello, Matthew.
What's up? Practice, Sean. I like that. I wear practice all
the time. Yeah, they always bite on things.
Yeah, I believe BAM, their pro-am, right, is basically pre-fish. And then their Super 60 is off limits, 30 days off limits with no pre-fish.
Yep.
But, like you said, I think pre-fish matters. And realistically, I think it matters more so for the anglers that already know what they're doing. And what I mean by that is if they essentially figure out a pattern within a day and they already know to run that pattern, we're not going to use Clear Lake because Clear Lake, the fishing's too good on Clear Lake. Realistically, you almost don't have to pre-fish, and you could go and get lucky and catch a winning bag of Clear Lake. That's, I think anybody that has fished Clear Lake in the past year or so can agree that you could possibly win on any given day, just going and get lucky on Clear Lake. Yeah. But those specific lakes that have a specific pattern, a specific hole of fish on a specific thing, like on my home lake, if I got the opportunity to pre-fish it and I was on the same fish that Damien was on, like right now, it wouldn't be a competition. That's the best way to put it, because you're comparing like an 18-pound bag to like a 35-pound bag. And that's where the pre-fishing just goes way too far. Yeah. But like I said, that's very specific stuff. It's not.
Well, and I find it funny that at our local level, we do have tournaments that have no pre-fishing or, a week of off limits. But then when you go to the national trails, you can fish. They do have off limits, but the week prior to the tournament, the 7 days prior to the tournament's all pre-fishing. So I don't know that it's a needed rule in the kayak community, even on the national trails. Like, does it really matter?
And then you can also argue, right?
Yeah.
What if you beat up your fish during pre-fish?
Which I do all the time.
Yeah, which Matthew is infamous for doing. He beats up his fish all the time during practice, and he never catches them.
Yeah.
Anthony's saying, I do like how on the boat side we're allowed to look at Bass Track during events. For the people that don't know what Bass Track is basically a live update for the Bassmaster Elite Series or the Open events. It's a live score tracker, kind of just tells you what each angler has. That's what Bass Track is for the guys that don't know, or listeners that don't know. Yeah.
100% agree with Anthony. We should not have there's no way you could police it, but we should not have access to Tourney X or Fishing Chaos leaderboards during tournaments. I think that's terrible, and I think that's what promotes the sandbagging, because people are, they're trying to do that. Who cares? The whole point of having a live leaderboard is so that people can spectate. Like my dad, who's into fishing, can watch. And if people sandbag, that's just not. I don't know. It defeats the whole purpose.
But I am a fan of having like Tourney X blacked out for the last hour.
See, I don't know. I don't care for that either.
Just because if you know that you're not in check range, top 10 or whatever it may be, you're not going to show up to awards.
Yeah, but that hasn't proven to work anyway. Everybody still knows. People still don't show up to awards. The no sandbagger event that James ran on Clear Lake was the best one. People watched. It got national attention. People that aren't even involved with us family-wise or anything else watched, were commenting, were sharing the leaderboards. And that was awesome.
Yeah, but I agree with Anthony. Our tournament management platforms or TMS systems, Fishing Chaos, Tourney X, whatever, iAngler is also out there as well. A lot of different apps. I wonder if they could, like Anthony say, if they could make it so that the anglers can't see what other anglers have. Just have it so the public can see it. Yeah.
Logging in and being able to see it without being logged in as a member.
Yeah. Because that's ideally, I do get what Anthony's saying, because there will also be anglers that know where you launched out of.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as they see you start loading the board, they will come find you.
Yep, that bent pole pattern.
Yeah, bent pole pattern.
Buzzards. Whole buzzards.
So it's happened. I mean, it's happened
a lot.
It's happened to me.
Yeah.
I just don't say anything about it, but it's happened. But your thoughts on the rule, Sean? You just kind of jumped on here and you just got kicked around with all of our comments here.
So what? You guys are kicking around the rule of practice, no practice, or are you kicking around?
Should off limits be a thing?
Yeah, I do. I think it should be.
In what aspect? So, like, what we were talking about is, like, let's say the Bassmaster Kayak Series. You can pre-fish for 7 days prior to the tournament. That's it. Other than that, it's off limits for 3 weeks. For gamblers, we have no pre-fishing for 30 days. For BAM, we have only 5 days of off limits.
I will be back. I have to sing happy birthday to my daughter.
Go ahead.
Definitely hold that thought. Hold that thought. Hey, could you mute me or something?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, we can't hear you sing?
That's funny.
So while he's away, we'll do one more. How about boat landings? What do you think about the approved list of boat landings?
California-wise, I think it's fine.
Is there a reason to have the rule?
Yes. Specifically, so for me, it's specifically more so of not just so the tournament angler can determine whether anglers have gotten off the water safely, but also if there's other anglers in the area so they could go and, somebody could get called to go check up on angler X that's still stuck, on a dock somewhere. Right.
But your only person that would know that is the TD who has access to your check-in location when you launch.
Yes.
So you wouldn't need an approved list of launches because the TD is going to know where each individual launches as he has to check on somebody for an emergency. And he would know if you launch there and if I launch there, then I can be called to go check on you.
Yeah, true.
So what's the point of the list?
Chris Sears also brings up a good point too. Somebody can launch from the Airbnb.
So you have a rule that, like we used to, public improved boat launches, whether they're pay or not, as long as everyone has public access, and that solves it. You don't have to have this written out list. So I guess where it comes into play is like, so me, everybody knows I'm the Clear Lake guy.
Yeah.
I know every boat landing on Clear Lake. And let's say, and I have done this in tournaments. I did this in the, it bit me, but I did this in the Native event last year.
Yeah.
I knew where a good population of fish was that were going to play in the tournament. I didn't go fish them because I knew a ton of people were going to be there.
Yeah.
We had an approved boat launch list, but I went to a lesser known, lesser used boat landing that did not have, I mean, I guess it had the same caliber of fish, but not, they weren't as dependable, let's say that. So I went to a place that I had less of a chance of doing really well, but I thought it was there. I rolled the dice on it to stay away from other people. So when you have an approved boat landing list, you might as well be having a shotgun single launch tournament. Whereas if you just said all public boat landings, your TD is going to know where everybody launches because he sees it on the check-in. So he's going to know if somebody's jumping in from an Airbnb or off the side of Highway 20. I think we overdo the rules thing. I think we do a lot of rules that have no merit.
Brownies.
Are those good brownies?
Yeah, and they got Oreos on the bottom.
You know, California-wise, I don't think it's too bad. I can see how that would play out more so on the East Coast. You know, on those really long river systems, I would see more so the advantage of that.
Well, and I'm not saying it should always not be that way. So we had the ABA on the Delta. The ABA on the Delta was sponsored by Contra Costa. You had to launch in Contra Costa.
Huh.
Yeah, there's no fish on Highway 20, trust me. But you had to launch in Contra Costa. So I could see an approved boat landing list for that if you were trying to keep everybody on the Delta in a certain area because that tourism bureau sponsored it, whatever. Fine. But in general, I don't know that I like an approved launch list.
Because my only thing is, if you didn't have an approved launch list, because the kayak tournament scene is still so much in its infancy stage, a lot of guys are going to be confused. And they'll always continue to reach out to the tournament director, you know, to James or whoever, you know, Marvin, Native event specifically, that's going to happen soon. That's going to have a lot of numbers, right? They're going to continue to reach out to him. And over the course of a time, he's just going to say, I'm having a list because I'm tired of dealing with 200 text messages asking if I can launch here.
So here's the real deal. I have a couple bodies of water that have public launches on them that aren't well known.
Yeah, okay.
I don't launch at them in tournaments, big tournaments, because I don't want somebody seeing my truck there going, oh, hey, that's a public launch. But they are secret little launches that are public. They are on lists somewhere. But they just don't get trafficked, and I like it that way. Like I said, I don't launch them in tournaments because I don't want to give them up. But and James knows. James knows where one of my launches is that I'm talking about, and I specifically did not give him that launch for a tournament that we had on this body of water because I didn't want people to know about it. I just did not use it during that event. I don't know. I think we overdo the rules just for the sake of having rules, or just for, I don't know, trying to keep up with some other club because this club has this rule or this national trail has this rule, so we're going to adopt all their rules. Man, less rules, the better.
Thoughts on off limits, Sean? Now that you're back after seeing Happy Birthday.
Yeah, off limits. I think there needs to be an off limits. Just to, I think it evens the playing field a little bit. Not everyone has the opportunity to spend straight on the water. it just in all fairness, at least, I know people have, their bodies of water that, their home ponds, or if you will. But I think having, there's like for instance, so I was on Don Pedro last Saturday. I saw a particular boat with a wrap on it, and I saw him again today, Wednesday. The same one. And I'm sure he's fishing BAM. I'm 100% sure he is. So that guy essentially fished Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and he's going to fish again in 6 days in a row on Don Pedro. It's a huge body of water, and if you strategically start breaking it down, then maybe that last day you're checking up on all your spots, see if your fish are still there. Yep, they're there, they're there, they're there. Day one comes along, you have an advantage over, a potential, a pretty good advantage, and that individual's a very, very good angler from Arizona. And
Bridgeford sausage?
like,
I don't want to name any names.
no.
Did he win recently? Do you know, Sean?
He won the Shasta event.
Somewhere.
Junior did.
He's pretty consistent.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Oh no, I know. Sean's just trying not to say his name, so I was just asking that.
like he's been there the whole time, and I don't know many people who could spend that much, could get away that time. Other people have the businesses, they're running regular jobs. So yeah, I think there should be an off limits to some extent.
You know what's funny about that? The biggest trail in California is Yakabass, the regular Yakabass.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
100 anglers event.
One point, Matthew.
You can fish as much as you want, and that's the biggest trail we got. So It obviously doesn't turn people away that they might not have the advantage on tourney day.
So, but you also have to look, as James has said many times, it's considered an entry-level tournament. It's not these high-dollar entry fees. So it's made for just the guy who was just at the ISE show, bought a kayak. Hey, I want to get into this. It's intended for them.
So on that comment, then, the only trail we have that's a high entry fee is Gamblers.
Yes, it is.
So,
Well,
Bam has
it would be
Matthew's on a roll points already.
It would be 2 trails currently. Well,
what's the other?
Kind of, sort of. BAM and then Gamblers.
BAM's not high dollar though.
Yeah, but it's your higher dollar.
Not really. BAM is the same buy-in as Yakabass if you go in yak pots and stuff.
And it's almost the same as Wild West was.
Yeah, so it's entry level.
Yeah. Technically, yes.
You get paid that day, just saying, but entry wise is the
same.
But it's just slightly higher than your regular series.
Right. Yeah. But then going back to Bassmaster Kayak Series, you get to fish for a week prior to the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody drives down and fishes for a week prior to the tournament. But
3 days. Yeah, 3 days, 2 days, 1 day sometimes.
That's what I mean. So, and that is the highest level with the most prestige, the most money in the pot. That's what I'm saying. So I think on all levels, even at the Bassmaster level, I think it's just a rule to have a rule.
Yeah, that's been kind of the thing with the Gambler series as well.
Well, let's use Gamblers then. The Gamblers event did not officially have an off limits because of the issue with swapping the permit.
Yeah.
But we all know Pua was off the water for just pretty much 30 days, right? And still won it, hands down.
How many days were you off the water, Pua? You're in the comment section. Let us know. Or better yet, you could jump on too.
There you go, Pua.
Yeah. Pua's waypoints. I'm guessing that's what he's referring to.
Well, I'm just saying, that's let's say we had a 30-day off limits for any of the gamblers. Yeah. We all know when the gambler shows up on the Delta, who's going to be the top contender. It's Pua. Always is. Whether he's got 30 days off the water or not.
19th was the last time, so I don't know. I don't recall when that happened, but I'm assuming it's close to a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. So does the off limits really do anything? You know, when you're going to step up and fish Bassmaster, when you start doing that, you travel, you're going to fish lakes that people live on that you've never seen before, and you can still win.
Yeah.
I mean, I've won in Wisconsin. I've won in Alabama. I think
it really comes down to the angler. And it's not to discourage anyone, but unfortunately, there's just some anglers that really need a lot of time to figure things out. And there's just some anglers that don't need any time to figure things out.
I think it gives anglers a false sense of confidence that they are going to do better because it's a level playing field because everybody's been off the water for 30 days. It doesn't make it a level playing field, and it's still the same handful of anglers that win every event, with the exceptional outlier, the exception of a few outliers. But it's always going to be this bracket of anglers that is at the top of the leaderboard every time. Doesn't matter if there's off limits, fish right up till the day, doesn't matter. It's that there's just some anglers that have more skill and more consistency.
So that kind of brings up the question: what should we go forth with for the Gambler Series?
Well,
let's solve this.
I'm using Gamblers because we all know Gamblers, but that's not. I mean, like I said, BAM has it. Regular Yak doesn't have it.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm just trying to help James out here. Because what should we do for the Gambler Series going forth for the guys that are in the Gamblers series?
So
or that
I don't want to put input on a series that I'm not fishing. So
that would essentially it's that
y'all thing.
It's kind of to the point where if not enough guys are going to show up, then might as well just end the series. Because as James says, he's pulling money out of the pocket to run the series for no reason,
right?
Technically.
Me personally, I made a commitment that I was going to stay on Clear Lake this year, 99.9% of the time. So if Gamblers was going to come to Clear Lake, I would sign up and fish Gamblers. But I want to stay on Clear Lake. I still have not caught a double digit. I've got limited time left in California, and I want to maximize my chances. So there are a couple outlier lakes that I'm going to fish. But for the most part, I'm staying on Clear Lake.
This is a great glide bait bite. Just saying.
There was two over 40-pound bags caught this week at Clear Lake.
Yep. Time to go.
And it's consistently taken 32 to 35 pounds to win every tournament so far this year.
Oh, dear.
But that's just a me thing.
Yeah, the pre-fish deal, if I had it my way, no pre-fishing. Just because at the end of the day, it's just, to me, it's fishing, and it's up to you to figure it out on any given day. But that's just me. Yeah, if it was up to me, I would go for no pre-fishing at all.
My solution, it would definitely take some time for the Gamblers. What you really have to do is reach out to the people who fished it last year and maybe some other individuals as well. Reach out to them independently, not on Facebook with a big pool that, people are clicking on yes and no and being influenced from other people's answers. You have to look at that, speak to them individually via message or something and ask them about Gamblers. What do you guys think about this? What are your opinions about that? What needs to change? What's stopping you from fishing Gamblers again? Things like that. You have to almost do it'll be a pain in the ass, but you almost have to do like an independent survey so you're not getting influenced by what you're seeing on, how people are voting when you say, hey, vote on this. You literally have to do that and then come up with a thing. Because I've done statistics, stupid things like that before, and you'd be surprised with the results when you're not being influenced by, Matt and Max said said this, so I'm gonna vote the same way. So
I agree.
it's
And I
thought
like
we were-
seeing gamblers. I like having gamblers here because I like that having that next level of tournament.
I thought we were all men here, though. You guys can't just voice your own opinion and not have to follow along with my opinion. What the hell are we doing here, guys? Just
know-
say what you guys want to say. Jesus.
you know how that all goes when people start posting stuff on the Yakabas page, something, and then it turns into jokes and different things and all these side comments and stuff, and you never get, the right answer, basically.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you what my right answer is. It's been an hour, and I'm going to go spend time with my wife.
There you go. Tell her we said hi.
Absolutely. I'm sure she's got some pictures to share from her recent trip if she hadn't already.
Oh, awesome.
Before you take off, what's the water like on Clear Lake? I don't need no fishing report. Just what's the
No.
water like? Water temp.
Water temps
Yeah.
are coming up.
Uh,
When I was up there this past weekend, it was 49 down south and 53 up north. Obviously, that's because water clarity is different. It's
Yeah.
clear down south. It's muddy up north. Way down south, it gets muddy again.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to say like Mid Lake, the Narrows is clear and it's not clear anywhere else. You have to go like all the way down to the mouth of Cache Creek, and then you get into a brown stain line. You can catch fish strolling. You can catch fish shallow. So we are at that part. I mean, the BAM tournament that's coming up is going to be a little weird because we have a cold snap coming, which I think is going to hurt the bite a little bit. But I still think it's going to take the equivalent of 30 pounds to win. So you're talking 100 inches probably is your goal if you want to be at the top. Like I said, they're in all. I wouldn't say they're in all stages. They're all pre-spawn, but you still have fish that are wintertime pattern deep. You have fish that have already moved up. So, and that's honest truth.
Yeah.
I've been getting anywhere from 20 to 25 pounds pretty consistently. Amanda and I caught 27 in 4 hours the other day. That was a couple days ago. I mean, it's fishing good. I haven't had one of those magical 30-pound plus days, but I've had some 27 and 28s. So
Fair
Right.
enough.
Close.
I've had a 9-1. I've had a couple 8s, some 7-13, 7-14s. There's a lot of big fish biting right now. For sure.
Go catch them. Go
I'll
catch
try.
them, everybody.
I'll be up there Friday, hopefully.
Nice.
Must be nice. Yeah, Pedro.
But I'm going to sign off and go hang out with the wife for a little bit.
All right, sir. Me and Sean will hang out for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Good
A little
deal.
bit. All right, Matt.
All right. Appreciate y'all having me.
Good night, Matt.
Good night.
Glad that guy's gone.
You're still in the background, Matt. You need to close off. I got him in the back of the studio. I just removed him off the stage, so Matt heard you.
We love you, Matt. That's awesome.
Oh dear.
Wish my wife would fish. Jeez.
Oh dear. That's not a good comment to make. Darren was saying make the top 25 from the previous Yakabas year of fish gamblers. You know, I don't think that's possible. Well, I'll let you have it, Sean. Do you think that's possible? I don't think it's possible.
That's a big number. You're going to, if you look at the top 25, you're going to get rid of a lot of people.
Mhm.
I mean, I get the idea, and I don't ever want to discourage anyone who thinks they're so-called not good enough or something. You hear it time and time again about time on the water, things like that. It's just getting out there, fish with different people when you can, learn a little bit from everyone you fish with. If you could fish as a co-angler, if you get that opportunity, especially for instance, like the BAM tour, you're going to fish at least 2 days, and if you make the cut, then you get 3 days. Same thing with one bass. Maybe you and a buddy or a friend could, go fish one of the one bass tournaments, especially like Clear Lake coming up. something like that, you're going to get 3 days on the water. And it's a combined, it's a combined weight for one bass. So your pro wants you to catch fish. He's not going to back boat you or something. He wants you to catch fish. You're definitely going to learn stuff that way. And just how you break down water and things like that. I mean, there's this, it's all learning,
I think the hard part with this is, as Darren is saying, you gotta push the guys up to make the transition. But unfortunately, unless you have that list and you don't let them fish the amateur series, it's not possible to enforce it. And then if you don't let those said 25 anglers not fish the amateur series, then you also lose those 25 anglers in entry fees. And so there's no
big jump in entry fees. You're basically close to $200 more.
Yeah. So
that's a big jump.
It's not possible. Currently. And we'll kind of see where it goes, but currently it's just not possible to have that higher tier of competition, if you want to call it that. It's just not possible currently.
Then what? Your numbers for Yakka bass are going to go down potentially.
Yeah.
Instead of you're averaging around 100, you're going to be about 75. Change payouts and stuff. No, I totally get it.
Yeah. And Sean Beach brings up a good point too. It's 180 for all in Yakka bass, yak pot as well.
Yeah.
But you also got to consider on the yak pot, right, Sean? Typically, there's only between 20 and 30 guys that do the yak pot.
Yep.
And it pays out 1 in every 10 anglers. So realistically, there's only, it typically only pays, first or second. It hardly pays out to third in yak pot. Yeah. And that's
earlier in the season it does. Then
and
put into it.
Yeah, that's with 100-ish anglers. So it just goes to show you that the guys that actually are willing to pay that higher entry fee is about that 20 to 30, maybe 40-ish guys, that wants to have that higher entry fee level. So, yeah, it's not really, it's still the same 20, 30 guys that, they buy in every time.
I paid for it once last year and I missed out a lot because I didn't pay for it. So,
yeah, you should have. You would have catch a lot more. Entry fees aren't the issue for the average guy. It's the 2 days that deter the numbers.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's understandable.
The only 2-day tournaments that we have is when it comes to Chris Laird and the West
Coast
and the
Sandbagger
and the TOC. And look, all the people who qualified for TOC and how far we had to keep dropping down just to fill it.
Yeah.
So, and I get it. Maybe it was a timing thing for some people. They couldn't make it. But again, I mean, we fish all year to try to qualify for TOC. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. I know people have different opinions about doing drop downs and stuff like that.
Well, so my only thing is, what Dustin's saying here is probably most of the reason why guys don't fish it, the Gambler Series.
Yeah.
In my opinion, just my opinion by itself, is if we're trying to essentially make a more competitive series or a higher tier series, if you want to call it that, it would have to advance to multiple days, because being consistent through multiple days is more difficult to do than it is to fish one day and then get lucky and win. So if you wanted a higher echelon tier of tournament trail, you're going to have to fish for more days, just because it really showcases the guys that are on something versus the guy that goes drop shot and gets lucky. you know, that's just kind of where that's at. You know, it's not. I get it. It deters a lot of people, but if you're gonna make it into a more competitive series, you just kind of have to put it at 2 days because it's the threshold, right? The threshold between being consistent for 1 day versus being consistent for 2 days is
You have to earn
is
it.
big.
Have
Yeah,
to,
you have to earn. Yeah.
because there's
So
just the boat side, those 1 day shootouts,
Yeah.
you're fishing a team, and it's like, I mean, people, you're right, people get lucky.
Yeah.
You know,
it
especially
happens.
those fish are all over the place, all up and down the water column, and they could be anywhere at any time right now.
Mhm.
I got a question.
Yes.
So, I want to talk about being efficient on the water.
Okay.
I was listening to this other podcast. They're talking about the was it the Major League Fishing, and how
Okay.
Jacob Wheeler is way more efficient than the other anglers, because
Yes.
when he by the time he lands the fish, takes it off the hook, weighs it, puts it back in the water, on average he was like 41 seconds faster than than the average other anglers that he was competing against. And if you break it down per period, per days, stuff like that, like he's getting a lot more fishing time. And obviously we all know that you can't catch any fish without having your line in the water. So I'm curious, your opinions or what you do to be efficient on the water. Like I have, if I have a specific technique that I'm using for that day, I'll have minimum, if I'm on a drop shot bite, I have a minimum of 2 drop shot rods rigged up, basically the same. So I break off, instead of retying, I can just grab that rod, fire right back in there. In my kayak, if I have certain baits, instead of reaching behind me to my box and pulling stuff out, and I'll have a few of the baits literally right below me. I have noticed when I using my GoPro, me landing my fish, unhooking them, getting the board out, getting the right picture, working the tail a little bit to get it touch the line. I'm wasting like 3.5 to 4 minutes just
Just
doing.
take a picture.
Yeah, sometimes like 5 minutes, and I'm just like, I look back on, I'm like, man, that's one little flaw in my game, because sometimes you're just like, oh, maybe if that fish relaxes a little bit, I can get that extra 1/4 inch,
Yeah.
Those,
Yeah. What I do, first and foremost, don't do what I do unless you're comfortable.
jump in the water.
Everybody knows you can't jump in the water. Don't do that either. If you're not comfortable, don't jump in the water. If you are comfortable and you can swim, key word there is you can swim, jump in the water. But what I do, and I don't recommend this even to most of your newer anglers, I don't recommend it. I don't use a net. Very simply because if I have to net that fish, it takes an additional who knows how long, right? Even with a net, the hooks don't catch, rubber net, your hooks don't snag. It's still gonna take you an additional minute, 2 minute, maybe 30 seconds to unhook your bait off the fish's mouth, and then also unhook those hooks from the net itself. So that saves time, both flip everything. That's one. And then two, I always have my catch board like literally in front of me. And so as soon as I catch a fish and I grab it and I get the fish unhooked and everything, all I do is I just pull my catch board and it's right in front of me. And I just set it down and it's already ready to go.
Yeah.
Everything's literally
okay.
I literally don't do much. I literally lay everything down right in front of me and it's just take a picture and then drop the fish.
Nice.
And then, like you said, for those fish that you want to try to squeeze the extra 1/4 inch, or say it's at 16 3/4 and it may touch 17 inches to get that extra quarter inch. Me, I give it 1 or 2 tries, and if I can't get it to that 17-inch mark, I just toss it. I just keep going. Very simply because I feel like throughout the course of a day, if I can't call that fish anyways, then I'm not going to be in contention to win regardless. Yeah, but that's just, like I said, that's just the way I do things. Like there's a lot of fish that I probably could have measured that would have gave me an extra quarter inch, would have added a total, I don't know, say half an inch or 3/4 of an inch throughout the course of my day. But is that additional 2 minutes or 3 minutes to take a picture actually worth it versus if the bite's hot and I toss that fish and I'm going to call it right on the very next cast? Does that, where do you weigh your options kind of deal? And I always lean more towards I'll just catch a bigger one, just make another cast, catch a bigger one. Why bother, trying to catch a smaller fish,
Yeah, makes sense.
So, that's just kind of where I'm at. Or, another thing is your gestures on your phone, right? Like having gestures so that, you can swipe up to take a photo or double click the power button so that it turns on to camera mode, on your phone. Yeah, those quick shortcut keys on your phone to essentially you could double hit your power button, turns on to camera, and then you just take a picture and then you let the fish go, take multiple shots.
No, that's a good idea.
Yeah, those are little things. But for me, it's like all these guys are saying, for me, it's the no net thing. The no net thing is probably the biggest time saver for me personally. I just feel like you save a lot of time because you're not doing the extra motions, untangling your hooks. You get one or two extra casts by just not using a net in the time frame of netting once. So yeah, that's just my opinion. I don't know if you have anything that you got.
No, I just try to be. One of my things is it's all different scenarios and stuff. I try to be efficient as I can on the water. Trying to get to my spot as fast as I can. Going on Google Earth and measuring things out. Okay, if I go here, which spot am I going to, start first, and just trying to be, efficient. Hold on, let me see what does it put.
Yeah. Well, he says there's true too. It depends on the tournament, as in, what do you expect? What size of fish do you expect to catch? Is it tough fishing? Is it good fishing?
Yeah. Well, well, Rollins was I guess different scenario for you guys because you guys didn't get to practice. But I said it before. So when I go out to practice, if I'm catching an average of 14 and a half, maybe 15-inch fish, I'm going to say, okay, that's going to put me at what 75 inches for 5. If I'm averaging 15s, I throw 10 inches on top of that. If my average fish are 15s, maybe 15 and a halves, I'm going to throw 10 inches on top of that. So I'm going to need around 85 or a little more is what I think I need to get to, do well in this tournament.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, me personally, in tournament fishing, regardless of whatever body of water I'm fishing on, I always aim to hit the 85-inch mark. As in, if I don't feel like I'm going to hit around the 85-inch mark, regardless of practice, no practice, if the fish isn't going to get me to about that 85-inch mark, I'm normally letting those fish go and then just continuing fishing. It's been me, many times. Last year we had a TOC on the Delta. CVKF had a TOC on the Delta. Yeah. And I had 4 fish, and I had caught multiple 12-inchers keepers to just measure and fill a limit. and I throw 12 inches back, and that one fish would have got me into second or third or something like that. So, I was aiming more so that 80, mid 80s, 90ish, inch bag. So I just couldn't get that extra bite. Or I got those bites, but I just didn't land those fish to take a picture of it. So
that also goes to what you talked about previously about being able to watch Tourney X and stuff. So what if you're more than halfway through the tournament, you submitted some fish because you're a good angler, not a sandbag, you're submitting fish. You're like, oh, let me go take a look at the standings. Holy smokes, I only have 78 inches, but no one else has a limit.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to change your whole mindset. Like, wow, the bite's actually tough. I'm getting ready to leave this area because I think I need to be in the 80s, mid 80s or something. Let me go back to that area because I think I could, get some 50.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, just
happens.
Go back on talking about that, being able to see Tourney X. I mean, it does have its advantages and disadvantages too. Because, there's been times I looked at those standings and had, oh, so-and-so is, leading it, whatever. He's probably doing this or he's probably doing that technique when it's completely opposite.
It happens.
Yeah.
Do you have multiple baits that are the same on different heads? I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe Sean does. I don't. I keep everything extremely simple.
Yeah.
I'll take a lot of rods. So on a normal tournament day, I'll take 8 or 10 rods, plus or minus. And then I'll have a rod for each technique for, say, that seasonal pattern. And then if I don't get bit on those techniques that I've gotten bit before on those seasonal patterns, then I just keep cycling through the rods until I get bit on something. And then once that doesn't happen, then I just go to confidence baits. I don't go too crazy with the different heads, but Sean, maybe.
I do different heads. I hope I answer this question correctly. So, say I like to throw that Yum Sonar minnow is like one of my go-to baits for strolling, for instance. Mm-hmm. So I'll throw like a 4-inch one. Let's say I throw it on a 16th ounce head, and I'll have another one on a 3/16 ounce head. Same bait, just different size head. And I've actually found that, I don't want to talk about a specific lake, but there's been days I could throw the heavier head and get bit, and there's been days they don't want nothing to do with that heavier head. They want the lighter head, the slower fall. But same bait, it's just how it's being presented to them.
If we're talking about the weight of heads, then I don't do much different either. Like, for example, mid-strolling or strolling, I typically start with a 3/30 seconds, and then that's it. I throw 3/30 seconds until, whether it's fish in, say, 15 feet of water, or say if it's fish in 50 feet of water, I just stick with that 3/30 seconds. I'm not efficient, if that makes sense, because if the fish are in 30 feet of water, it's going to take forever that weight to get down to them. I'm not efficient, but I also feel like they'll still bite it, even though I'm not as efficient, as long as I make the proper cast. But yes, for the sake of saving time, it would make sense. I don't do it not in the water. I just keep one and I just go. Yeah, that's just me.
But it goes to the fisher and make the final decision of how they want the bait,
Yeah. Raymond just bought some pink Crocs.
Yeah.
I don't believe it until I see it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't believe it until I see it.
That's awesome.
Everybody's getting on that pink Croc game. I should get a Croc sponsor.
That is dope. You should.
Yeah, I should get a Croc sponsor.
That's outside the box. I'm telling you. If you want sponsors to get more than just discounts, you need to go outside of the industry.
Fishing. Yeah.
Like Crocs, I guarantee you, there's nobody right now who has a Crocs sponsor in fishing that I know of. I'm sure there's probably somebody somewhere, but I guarantee you, there's no one named Max Lee who has a Crocs sponsor yet.
No.
Obviously.
Especially not one named Max Lee. Definitely not yet.
Dude, you should do it. That'd be huge, dude. And all you gotta do is take a picture of him. He's got a picture of him.
Every Monday make a croc post.
Dude, that's it. That's all you gotta do.
Kenny's throwing a joke here. Quarter-inch difference could be the difference between a winner or shortcomings. Yes.
Yes.
Size does matter.
Been a lot of tournaments won by a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch.
Yeah.
Like Don Pedro.
Yakabass. Don Pedro's going to be that way. Yakabass TOC, not last year, but the year prior. Paul Mauda had me by 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
I was second. He won by 1/4 inch. All I had to do was land a fish, which I had hooked, and I probably could have called out and won. Happens, It's
Yep. That's all it is.
yeah.
Fishing.
So yes, the only exception is when they blow out the size, like Pua on the Delta 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How it goes. It's fishing.
Yeah.
But he put his time on that water, and he's has some stuff dialed in. So
Yeah.
that's how it goes.
Justin is saying make a highlight video of your Crocs.
Dude. He's on to
Oh, dear.
He's on to something. I'm telling you.
The highlight videos would be of me walking to the boat ramp. I have to do something. It would have to be like a year-long project.
You should do something and submit it to Crocs. I'm telling you. That'd be awesome.
It would be awesome.
You'll be showing up to tournaments. You get a pair of Crocs. You get Crocs. Everybody gets Crocs.
Oh dear. That's funny.
End of the year raffle. Everybody's gonna have Crocs. What?
Isaiah brings up a good question.
We'll do that on Friday. Don't jump the gun, buddy.
Isaiah's already choosing Crocs.
Yes.
That's funny.
We'll get James to pick one. Maybe if that identifier is chosen, someone could win a pair of Crocs or something.
Solely Crocs. What on earth are solely Crocs?
I don't know.
Now I have to know.
Nobody knows.
Oh dear.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
The real reason is why solely as in Monster Inc.'s solely, right, James? I'm assuming.
There it is. There we go. That's more like it.
Oh, this is faster. James just messaged me. I'm just curious. Sorry, viewers that's listening in. This is a really bad part of the show where there's a lot of dead time, but I'm so curious as to what James is.
We are very curious.
Solely Crocs. I don't see his message.
Well, what do you think it's going to take on Saturday? Or do we want to go there?
We can, but in case everybody was wondering, solely Crocs.
It's got to be. You're looking it up right now. I could tell you.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Colors changing on everything. There it is. What the? That's awesome.
I mean, I won't turn down a free pair of Crocs.
That's
That's
awesome.
great. What do I think it's going to take to win? Oh, I haven't fished it, but based off of what I think it's going to take, it's going to be at least 98 to win. Yeah.
Oh, crap. 98?
Yeah, the only exception is the boat pressure on day one on Friday, obviously.
Yeah.
Boat pressure may affect some of those fish. And not only that, but some of those big fish may be caught or weighed in.
Yeah.
And they may not want to bite. Especially in this time of the year where there's fish moving up, there's fish thinking about doing the business, there's fish staging to do the business. Yeah, it's possible to get 98. And especially as a team. As a team, it's more plausible to get 2 good bites in a day. So, your thoughts?
I'm going to say 92.
92? Guys are saying 82 boats at BAM at 45-ish pounds. No, I think it's going to take more than that weight-wise. I think it's going to take at least 60 pounds to win BAM. But I think it's going to take at least high 90s, mid 90s. 90 plus.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, there's 93 inches.
Nice.
Fun fishing question. If you're just fun fishing, are you more of a shallow angler or offshore angler? Sean? Are you a deep water guy or are you a beat the bank guy, Sean? If you're just out having fun.
I do both. And I can honestly say the last couple weeks I did both. I fished down to 50 feet and I fished in 5 feet. There's been fish everywhere right now. Preference, I like to target cast, especially like in the Delta, skipping stuff underneath, overhang, stuff like that. But I do like my offshore stuff. There's nothing like dragging a jig down 40, 50 feet. Even another bait on a football head, which we'll talk about another time. I'm kind of keeping that in my pocket.
A football jig or football?
No, just there's another bait I put on a football head that a lot of people
okay. Yeah.
don't do, and it's super effective.
No, that's fair.
But I don't know. I mean, shoot. What about you, Max? What do you like to do?
If I am fun fishing for multiple days, then I like to offshore fish. If I'm fun fishing for one day, then I like to do both. I like to do a mix of shallow fishing and offshore fishing. If I'm fun fishing for just one day. But if I'm fun fishing for more than one day, or say I spent multiple weeks on a body of water, as in multiple weekends, so Saturday, Sunday, work, and then Saturday, Sunday again on the same body of water, then I like to fish offshore. Just very typically because most guys are going to want to go to the bank and they're going to leave the offshore fish alone, typically. So, not that those fish are less pressure, but they're less targeted. And figuring out those bite windows is much more rewarding to me than it is of going down the bank and catching fish, beating the bank. So,
yeah.
But I do it both. It just depends on what my mind feels like doing. That's why I've been going to the Delta a lot.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because as we're in this winter pre-spawn transition kind of deal, spawn kind of deal, You can start fishing faster, of course, but I still feel like the Delta you can fish faster than most places. Cover water, I should say. Nothing really looks the same, and because nothing ever really looks the same,
Yeah.
then I feel like I'm power fishing the entire day. So that's why it's fun for me to go to the Delta. But
yeah,
that's why that is. That being said, my boat is clean. I did wipe down my boat. I disinfected my trailer and boat as well.
We're
So-
turning into the authorities at Don Fager.
Yeah, so do not disqualify me. I made sure to decontaminate my boat.
Sure.
I promise. The old stains, rust stains, are not because there's water in it. It's because the trailer is rusting.
It's baby muscles. It's all right.
Which have you seen the Lake Pardee and Amador and Comanche, their Facebook page? They're getting reamed in the comment section. They're just getting so much hate from anglers that can't drop their boats in their lake. Have you seen the comment sections?
Go fish
Yeah.
somewhere else. They're not going to change.
Yeah.
It sucks because my aunt and uncle keep their motorhome at Pardee during the season, and I think his boat's probably still in the parking lot there, so they can't even use it. Can't get in the lake. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So they don't have any way to change it, so it sucks.
Yeah, it's been the comment section has just been interesting.
Yeah,
The comment section for Pardee and Comanche is very interesting. Everybody's on the same. Most people are on the same.
yeah, and it gets fueled from other people seeing comments. Yeah, that's right. That sucks. We're gonna rise up against you guys. Well, they're gonna keep doing what they're doing. It sucks.
Well, James, I would really consider it. I don't know if I want to get a new kayak. I don't know if I want to pay for a new kayak.
Yeah.
And not only that, but for the guys that don't know, every year I'm gonna do a poll to get new Crocs anyways. So, just saying.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh. Are you taking off, Tom?
No. Sorry. Where'd I go? Hold on. Let me get back. Am I back? There we go. Sorry.
There you are. Got dark.
People are messaging me right now.
Oh dear. Pink Unlimited. James, I would rock it.
Oh yeah,
I currently can't afford it.
Be a pink rocket.
Yeah, I currently can't afford it, to be dead honest with you.
That's awesome.
Poll for a new kayak. I mean, if we could raise some sort of fund, like let's just say breast cancer awareness fund or something like that, by me rocking the Pink Unlimited, then yes, I'll do it. But I can't. Yeah, but I don't have me personally, I don't have the funds to buy a new kayak currently.
Oh yeah, expensive.
Yeah, it's just there's like a good cause, right? And we could actually do something to raise a fund of for breast cancer awareness or something that is synonymous with the color of pink that is for a good cause. Yeah, regardless of what it is, then I'm all for it. Yeah, I would gladly rock a Pink Unlimited for however long it needs to be rocked for. But unfortunately, I don't have the funds to do that for everybody's enjoyment. I appreciate all you guys, but I don't enjoy you guys enough to make myself
be
your guys' entertainment.
Right.
But that being said,
Yeah.
Sean Beach is saying Don Pedro's fishing well. 45-ish kayaks. Oh, 45-ish kayaks. James is guessing 93-ish inches, 92, 94 inches.
Yeah.
And Dustin Brown is also saying no
Pre-fish.
need pre-fish. Just follow the release boat.
There you go.
Fun fact, I do know where that release boat is going to be. But yeah. But that being said,
No, I'm not gonna be
thanks
able
for
to.
jumping on, Sean.
Yeah, I won't be able to
Sorry?
duplicate it today. That's for sure.
But duplicate.
Oh no, I went fishing today. I don't think I'll be able to duplicate it.
How did you do then? What did you end up with? Inches. Come on, you can say.
93 and a quarter.
Yeah, see? I told you guys it was going to take high 90s.
Not compared to what we're doing the last couple times we're out. Probably had last couple times we're out. Probably had like 81, 82.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine though.
Had to make some changes.
Well, you and Isaiah get to spread the love between each other, so it's possible. Yeah, it's very possible to hit that mid 90s.
The fish every day. The bite has been different. I can honestly tell you, every day the bite has been different. Ooh, cool! I'm catching them strolling. Next time, go out. They don't want nothing to do with it. Oh, they want a heavier head. They want a lighter head. I didn't catch the drop shot fish until today. So
That's a good thing.
They're deep, they're shallow, they're everywhere. Then you go back and they're gone. So who knows what's going to happen? A little better weather. What possible cloud cover or something Saturday? Honestly, I think it's lining up to be a very good event for everybody. Honestly, not just saying that to encourage people. It's just setting up. I fished in March in the past with very, very similar conditions. And as soon as those clouds come in like that, it has been just fire. So I'm hoping it's going to be like that for everybody.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Mark to beat is 93.
Yeah, it was my best day at Don Pedro ever. So
on a drop shot, he said. You should just left it at all on our drop shot. Everybody would just been out there doing a drop shot.
Everything. It's I don't know. I tried all new stuff today and it worked. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Well,
but there'll be boats. I know they're only pull up on a spot. No, there's a boat there. Oh, about this spot. No, there's a boat there too.
It's definitely gonna be more so focused on junk fishing.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. There's gonna be a lot of boat pressure.
No. It's not junk fishing. It's freestyle.
Fair enough. But with that, sir, I'll
All
let
right.
you get some rest. I will see you this weekend, of course.
Everybody sign up. I want to make another video to force you guys to sign up. That was fun. I got bored.
Yeah, I can tell you got bored. And then I guess we'll pick a code on Friday as well.
Yeah, we'll put that out there. Hopefully James will follow and pick one. And it'll be fun. It's gonna be a fun one.
All right. Well, once again, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We're just a couple guys just chatting like always. Also, thank you, Matt and Brandon, for spreading his enlightenment on rules. Have a good night, everybody.
There you go. See ya.